Hi, Jodi. Brian Cohen here with RHAP as a podcast. So excited to talk to you today. Bummed it's so early in the season, though. We were all so excited to see you back on our screens again. But I'm excited to kind of hear from you and your experience. I would love to just kind of start with, actually just your return. I know you came back with All Stars, made an appearance there, World Championships. But this is your first MTV Challenge appearance in like 15 years since your win on the duel. What brought you back? Did it take a lot of convincing to come back for this season, or you saw season 40? You're like, I got to be there. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely season 40 for sure. It was because it's a longer time shoot, so it's like 9 weeks instead of 6 or 7.
Yep.
Actually, All Stars is actually now 5 weeks. So it's definitely that was a harder conversation to have with my husband. Like, yeah, it's 9 weeks, and
Hmm.
he's like, "Excuse me, 9 weeks." So yeah, that was it was definitely harder to get the family on board for that one for
Sure.
sure. But I was like, I can't miss this. It's the 40th season, and I just don't know how many more opportunities there's going to be. And
Yep.
so I wanted to come back because I've heard CP say this before recently, but I wanted the feeling of what the challenge used to be. And I
Hmm.
knew with that Era One group there, I mean, I didn't know it was going to be Eras when I originally showed up. But I just knew there was going to be some of those people that I played with way back in the day who I hadn't seen in forever. And I
Yep.
really wanted to be there and I wanted to be able to just kind of relive my youth. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
wanted to be there and have fun. So I was also super sad that it ended early because I came to win. Like I still
Yeah.
fully believe that I have what it takes to win still. Even
Yep.
I feel like I'm in better shape, honestly, than I was back
Mm.
when I was in my 20s. And I prepared so much for this show that's another reason why the loss was so incredibly hard because I was so ready.
Yeah.
But you know,
Well, so going back out to this season, I know you dip your toes, like you said, in All Stars and World Championships. But did you go back and watch some of the newer seasons? Because obviously you figured there'd be some of like the new people on the season that you really have no interaction with. Did you go back and watch any of the more recent seasons just to get a sense of like who these new people are, how they play, what their strengths and weaknesses are, anything like that?
yeah. So I before I went on World Championship, I watched War of the Worlds one.
Hmm.
In fact, when I got there and I met Theo, I was like, "You look familiar. Why do I know you?" And then I realized, oh, duh, you were just on the season I watched. Like, couldn't even put two and two together.
Yeah.
But then before I came on 40, I watched Challenge season 39. I knew like who some of the newer people were. And then, yeah, I mostly just got on YouTube, honestly, and watched like most infamous eliminations to try to like
Hmm.
prepare, like what kind of things do I need to know? Like, what are some of the most famous eliminations? Because those are probably going to be the one they're going to bring back for 40, which
Yeah.
they did for that first one. But then my
Yeah.
elimination, I was like, this isn't one I've seen
No.
before. Like, this isn't a popular one.
Yeah.
So I hate this one. Anyway, um,
Was there
yeah.
anyone you were like super excited about that you maybe had never met before that you just watched? You're like, oh, this is gonna be fun to like see them kind of do their thing or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to meet Cara and Laurel. So, they're fierce women within the franchise. I mean, Cara is the first individual winner, period, male or
Yeah.
female, and she crushed the dude. So, I mean, of course, I was excited to meet her. Yeah, and then I was excited to meet Jenny West too. I met her very briefly on World Championship because she was an alternate. So I saw her really quickly. She was at the hotel, but then that was it.
Hmm.
So yeah, there was a lot of people I was excited to meet.
Yeah.
That you know,
So we get to the daily for this week, and TJ kind of lays out what the structure for what the season's going to be. Now it says everyone has to kind of pick their captains. We soon to find out later they're actually going to be targets. So what was the Era One conversation like that landed on you and Darrell? Did you guys kind of just take the bullet for the team, or was there someone that was kind of more steering that conversation that led to you guys being the captains for your group?
I definitely did not volunteer as tribute, if that's what you're asking. And
Yeah.
we know for a fact. I mean, I've only been on 6 seasons of this, but we all
Hmm.
know the drill, right?
Yep.
Captains go in if you
Yep.
lose the challenge. I mean, that is the rule. So
Yep.
I knew that when this happened. The issue that I got myself into is I should have followed my teammate Derek's advice. He told me, throw yourself into the first elimination like what I'm doing. You're going to beat Katie. You'll come back and then you'll already
Hmm.
have done an elimination and they can't target you again. So I should have done it, but I was more worried about earning respect and feeling validated from the other females on my team and feeling
Interesting.
like, okay, you say you want to play with me, prove it to me. I was more
Yep.
interested in that. And I also like, I've given myself a little bit of grace here too, because I've been so like, I beat myself up about stuff. Like, it's just ridiculous. But I can't go back in time, number one. But number
Hmm.
two, I had no idea that this is how the game was going to change.
Of
That now
course.
we're going to be picking captains. Like, I thought, okay, we're going to do another challenge and I'm going to do well and I'm not going to get put in a limb again, you know? So I didn't think it was smart to throw myself in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're all standing there getting ready to like hear what TJ has to say. And I'm an idiot who opens my big mouth, and we can see like there's an eating thing and there's this challenge season.
Hmm.
And I knew from watching Dirty 30 before I showed up here, they're going to have us put the seasons in order. So I had created flashcards, I had been studying them,
Nice.
I knew all the seasons in order. And I made the mistake of saying that out
Mm.
loud to my team. And I said, I know all the seasons, I've been memorizing these. And then Rachel goes, oh, great. You should be the team captain because you already know the seasons. And I
Yeah.
was like, cool. So I get penalized for being prepared. That's awesome. I feel really like that's a
Yep.
great idea. But I feel like there was no way for me to say no because Anissa's not going to go back in.
Yep.
Rachel's not going to nominate herself, and she's certainly not going to nominate her best friend Tina. So I was stuck. I was
Yep.
like, I guess it's gonna be me. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then yeah, it just felt like, and then in my mind, immediately in that moment, I was like, dang it. I was like, I should have listened to what Derek said. I should have thrown myself in
Yeah.
against Katie. Like I immediately regretted my decision of not
Hmm.
doing that,
Yeah,
you
that's tough
know?
though, because like you said, you couldn't know how this was going to play out. So it's always a risk, even against Katie. You never know what the elimination is going to be like. He could have been this in the elimination against Katie, and then who knows how that kind of would have went down anyway. But so obviously the big focus was like Tony and Avery, what they were going to do. But obviously you were going in. So did you try to sway them in one way? Did you care to go against Aviv or Casey or even Avery herself? How was it ended up going in? Were you trying to pull strings one way or the other to get a certain matchup you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, my preference definitely would have been to go against Aviv.
Hmm.
Reasons for that were okay. So full transparency, like backing up a little bit. I went into this game. There's people on this show that I love, that I
Yep.
genuinely enjoy hanging out with. I love Ryan. I love Naya.
Hmm.
I'm friends with Kellyanne. I'm friends with Derek. You know, I have people on this show that I am friends with, like outside of this show, right? But I only made two commitments leaving for this show, and that was to Derek Kaczynski and Kellyanne. Those are the only two people that I said I
Hmm.
will never vote for you. I will always try to save you.
Yep.
Those are the only two people I made any commitments to. So I promised myself I'm going to play for me and I'm going to do whatever I can to make it to the end. And so for me, whatever I could in that moment to make it to the end was going against the person I thought I had the best chance of beating. And that would
Sure.
be Aviv, because she has, I love Aviv, by the way. She's an incredible person, but this isn't about her personality.
Totally.
This is about me staying in the game. Um, I thought I had the best chance of beating her because size, experience. She's like one of
Hmm.
the few people I actually have more experience in eliminations than, because I haven't been in a lot myself. And you know, she hasn't been on the show in forever. So I was like, I could probably beat her in most things.
Yeah.
Whereas Casey, that's a toss up. I mean, this would have actually been a great one for me to go against Casey in, but like, who knew it was going to be a puzzle or a riddle?
Sure.
And then Avery, I just met Avery. I don't know anything about her other than she was just on All Stars 4 and she kind of crushed it. So, you know, Aviv was probably my first choice if I got to pick,
Yeah.
which I didn't.
Right.
Obviously, I
Yeah.
didn't get to pick anything.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So we saw at the end of our invitational, the eight people that go home. TJ sends you and all back to the house, but he keeps the eight people there. We see, obviously, it plays out that they're doing some sort of karma voting point speculation. Well, at the house, what were you all thinking? Were you thinking like they're like a redemption house? They're not actually going home? Was there less speculation about what was happening with the eight people, and then eventually what maybe you were about to do?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, why am I still in the arena? Like, that was the weird part, is they normally always have us leave, like the people
Hmm.
eliminated leave before they have the cast leave. So the cast was leaving and we're still there. And I'm like, okay, like I kind of looked at Tony like, what do you think's going on? But they didn't call it a redemption house. They called it an elimination house. So that's why I
Hmm.
was like, okay, we're going to the elimination house, which was basically just like a glorified hostel. That's what it was.
Right.
Um, But yeah, the karma vote was weird. And then they had me do karma votes for people who'd already been voted off. So I'm like, why am I
Interesting.
doing karma votes for people like for Mark and Katie and like people who are already gone who don't have a chance of winning? Like, why
Right.
are they getting karma votes? And I
Right.
don't know if it was the person who was doing my final interview who just was like, yeah, do it for everybody. Like they didn't
Mm,
know. But it felt weird. Like, why am I
yeah.
doing it for people who are gone? I don't know. But I
So I
was
would
like, do I
imagine, did you?
have a chance still?
Right. So I imagine you must have gave your 5 points to like Derek and Naya, kind of like who, like were those like the people that you mainly focused on?
Yeah, I honestly, I gave my fives to people I genuinely thought were going to be there in the final and the people that I wanted to win the most.
Yep.
So, those are the people that I like really thought long and hard about what number I was giving them. So, like, this person will probably be in the final. And, like, out of the people that I'm thinking are going to be there, who do I want to actually have win? If these numbers actually matter,
Yeah.
you know?
Makes sense.
So.
So, like, do you think like if 41 comes calling or 42, is this the last challenge proper you'll do, and you're now back to like only an all stars just because of the time commitment and everything, or like what's the future for Jodi here?
I mean, I definitely don't want this to be my last season. Like I told my husband, I said, in a perfect world, I would have done really well on this. Come in like first, of course, would have
Right.
been my goal,
Yeah.
but done really well, felt proud of myself, and been like, okay, cool, I can bookend my experience and I can be done.
Right.
But like that didn't happen. So for me, it would feel like weird for this to be the last one when I feel like it was just so awful. Like
Yeah.
I haven't even watched the season because I'm like
Hmm.
just I was there, I experienced it. I don't need to go through it again.
Totally.
Honestly, that's how I feel. I just like it'd be like opening an old wound. So I definitely want to come back.
Good.
It would have to be a perfect situation, and I don't know if I could make flagship work again because of the length.
Right.
But I would totally be down to do an all star season. I absolutely loved all stars, and that would be
Great.
super super fun.
Great. Well, yeah, I
Um,
hope it works out because that like we all want to see more of you. So hoping that works out, and like I think you can give them a run for their money again. So we would love to see it, but
Thank you.
bum
I
this season didn't go
appreciate
that
it.
far. Yeah. Well, it's great meeting you. Great talking to you, and hope the All Stars 5, 6, 7. Hopefully, we'll see you over there.
Thank you. You too.
Alrighty.